Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the PPC Chat Roundup. In today's episode, we have Julie taking us on a great, I'd call a lateral topic of PPC. We're talking about finding leads and building your brand in today's social landscape. Now, I love when we talk about topics like this because doing PPC well is not just about focusing on paid search or Google ads or Microsoft ads. It's definitely talking about the other channels that leads to better paid search performance. And these days, getting your brand to do well on paid search relies on social media as well, because loads of your customers, some of their journey would 100% have started from a social media channel. Well, maybe 90%, 90% chance, maybe not 100%, but honestly, a high percent chance is going to start from social media. So it's really important that we talk about how we do try to find leads and build your brand through social media. And with all the changes with social medias and our recent new leaders and TikTok up and down, being banned and coming back, yeah, it's definitely important to talk about things like this. So yeah, I hope you sit back and enjoy. Hello and a warm welcome to this week's episode of the PPC Chat Roundup, a podcast where I round up the Slack discussions that happen on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. GMT. I'm your host, Anu, and I'm recording from my studio here in London, UK. And I use this platform to share not just expert, but also my ideas and considered best practices about paid media and the direction the digital industry is going in. So if you want to keep up to date with my tips and tricks in the industry and get the latest on the podcast, that has been called your go-to if you don't make it to the PPC Chat live discussions. And even if you do, then follow, share, and retweet on that Twitter. But I'm also on Blue Sky, on Threads, on the handle, the marketing. Oh yeah, you can join us on our LinkedIn group, which is the PPC Chat Roundup. Or if you're on Instagram, check us out at PPC_Chat_Roundup to get quotes and snippets from previous episodes. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about finding leads and building your brand in today's social landscapes, because loads of things have been changing in terms of social media lately. We talk about whether people are using social media to build their brand and what platforms they're finding useful, whether they're finding the recent changes to the social media platforms, especially Meta, whether it's affecting anything that they're doing so far, or whether it's going to affect the plans, and how you're actually really going to differentiate ourselves moving forwards and what our top priorities to do that would be. So yeah, lots of things, interesting things to talk about. Also, would really love for you to hang in there. We've got a really lovely trailer from a very fantastic podcast, which is Search with Candor, which is a podcast that talks about SEO mostly, but also talks about PPC helping SEO and outdoor helping SEO and the different channels that help SEO as well. That will be running like after, let's take question 2 or 3, when I feel like we're halfway through the chat, and it will be really great for you to hear the fantastic stuff that they chat about. Yeah, without further ado, let's get into our chat today. Before we get to our first question, we've got Julie going. This chat is intended for PPC professionals of all levels. If you have something you want to share, please do. We are a friendly and supportive community. Please don't be afraid to participate. Join the Slack group, join the PPC Chat Slack channel, but there are also loads of different Slack channels where people are all asking questions about Google ads, different jobs, Microsoft advertising, scripts, social, and more. We'd love to have you on there. If you send a DM on any of the platforms I mentioned earlier to my handle or to Julie, who is usually at Neptune Moon, I'm sure would love to have you there as well. Or we'll give you the link to Slack as well, even. So yeah, going on to question 1, we have Julie asking, do you use social media to either build your brand or find businesses or leads? And if so, which platforms do you use? Julie goes, I do for both. I use Twitter, LinkedIn, Threads, and Blue Sky. And those are the main 4 that I use. I Instagram sometimes, but yeah, that'll mainly be the 4 that I use. Boris goes, yes, LinkedIn and Twitter, and it's been working wonders for me. Love that. Riva Minkov, yes to both. I use Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I also sometimes use Reddit and Instagram. I just got on Blue Sky, but not sure how to find my old Twitter network there. Nava goes, I'm very active on LinkedIn and started aggressively using Blue Sky. TikTok and Instagram were used, but no longer. Same story. And yeah, Julie goes, I forgot about Reddit. And we have Austin Dillman goes, other than having my LinkedIn profile somewhat optimized, I don't really do anything on social to build my personal brand. I've been consulting for 6 years. At this point, word of mouth drives my business along with getting cold messages from random companies on LinkedIn. I don't do any outbound or brand building through content, although I plan to do a lot more outreach this year to my network to help sell services for my colleagues. Boris goes, Reddit has never produced for me besides content ideas. Nava goes, I'm trying to be more active on YouTube. Oh, wow. That'll be amazing. Looking out for that. And yeah, PPC Live is definitely going to be being a lot more active on YouTube and doing videos across all the socials as well. So look out for that. Lawrence Chase goes, yeah, I don't do a lot to build my own personal brand, honestly, but I do use LinkedIn to look for more work when I have availability. Also, just to keep in touch with old friends who I have had great fortune to work with in my lifetime so far. Ali goes, used X and LinkedIn in the past. I use X the most for consumption and for the least. LinkedIn, I intend to resume this year. Lawrence Chas as well responds saying, I have thought about working on my personal brand more, and to do that, I do feel like YouTube would be the place to do that. Julia Vice goes, yes, for my personal brand, yes, for my client's brand. Jordan Starr goes, I'm doing my best to lean into LinkedIn for my personal brand. D. Pula responds saying, I'm on LinkedIn, but have found it difficult to build my audience on Twitter. Each platform demands a unique approach, and sometimes I find it difficult finding my voice there, finding your voice on the different platforms, because and knowing how to do it and translate it for all the different social medias can be difficult. So I say pick one or two. For me, it's definitely primarily LinkedIn, and then I do some Twitter and I do some Instagram as well. And then, yeah, we've got Julie taking us on to question 2, asking, have you found using social media to be helpful in either building your brand and or finding business or leads? If so, how? And if not, why not? This is very much for career development, guys. This is not necessarily for a paid search strategy. So yeah, to build your career for 2025, these are the kind of questions and answers you need to be hearing. So we have Riva answering to that, saying definitely it helps to stay at top of mind. Julie goes, social has been huge for me in building my brand and my expertise, credibility. And yeah, as for businesses and lead generation, it's much more meh, especially lately. Nava goes, absolutely. That said, different channels have different tones. I tend to do better on channels where there is a professional undercurrent. Ali goes, yeah, the biggest deal of my life was through a cold DM I received on LinkedIn a couple years back. It was completely inbound and I wasn't working on building a brand per se. It works for sure. I feel like the building personal brand is a treadmill if we approach it that way, especially the like, comment, share game to gain exposure. Boris goes, yes to both. For me, being active on LinkedIn directly correlates with business. It's not like people react to posts and then slide into your DM. It's more like decision makers will lurk and note who's relevant and what they're doing. Then once they are ready to buy, they drop you a message. So yes, being top of mind is big. Lawrence responds saying, yes, LinkedIn is a great way to contact folks who you have worked with in the past to see if they need help with their brands. It is also just a good friend to check up on old friends, so you get a double bonus. Reed goes, yeah, I'll be the grump in the room. I worked hard on social for a long time, focusing on Twitter back when being loud on Twitter was supposed to be the way to grow your clout in the industry. Couldn't even get a polite hello at a conference, except in extremely rare cases. Oh, bless Reed. Nava goes, I find I have gotten more podcast invites and public speaking gigs off of my LinkedIn work than any other channel. That said, it's supported by my regular contributions to other publications. Yep, those publications, contributions are amazing and very much appreciated, Nava. Go read Nava's latest article on PPC Live where she talks about finding your competitors and when they're competing on your brand and how to actually, go against that or how to tackle that even. Yeah, we've then got Boris going, 100% the case for me as well. Riva goes, I got 3 leads in one day off a LinkedIn post last week. They were all people with some connection to me, but I think it just added urgency and put me top of mind. Reed goes, which is to say that real social goes far further than social media. Julia Vice goes, yeah, not really. It's likely due to the nature of my business, as holdcos tend to respond to public RFPs and a more formal environment, but I do get speaking requests and podcast guest opportunities that way. Nava goes, regarding which personalities get chosen, I believe there is a bias towards anti-platform perspectives or people who have worked at software companies, so there's data to share. Julie goes, I will say that reach on most platforms has really gone down, at least for me, in the last 3 to 4 months. I should clarify too that this happens more on business posts than non-business posts. Nava goes, it's rare to see purely positive people who are agency or in-house for non-household names get picked. Lawrence goes, yes, this makes sense. They love data, and having personalities folks know and recognize are going to help with their traffic versus random folks who are not as well known in the industry or may not have a good amount of data to share. Nava goes, right, but everyone on this thread could be a personality, but they don't get picked or recognized because politics of selection committees or other factors. Interesting. Julia goes, this is why efforts to help new voices be heard is so important. We have help here through PPC Chat if you want to pitch to speak at conferences, and if you want to write a post on the site, I'm always accepting pitches for that too. So yeah, go to Julia if you want to write on officialppcchat.com. Lawrence just responded as well, saying, I have passed personally, but that falls on me not doing much of my own brand building over the years, except the folks I have met either in real life or online. Austin responds, yeah, LinkedIn is a decent source of inbound leads for me, but not from anything special I'm doing in terms of content creation or personal brand building. Weaver goes, I was actually just trying to figure out where to apply to be a speaker for a bunch of conferences coming up, but it also seems like it'll be harder to get started in speaking for me. Oh, Riva, come talk to me. I will help you get started. If you're in the UK, I doubt it. If you want to get started in work in talking at PPC Live. Now we go check out Women in Tech SEO Innovation Women and speaker lineup. Links to pitch events are usually open now for end of year. Julia Vice goes, yeah, not really, but it's probably because I'm such a lurker as is. Dee Pula goes, I'm very introverted and not very salesy. Social media has helped businesses and other professionals find me and reach out, which has been amazing. I want to have a collaborative relationship, not one where I need to poach or convince anyone. And I must say, I very much agree with you on that one. As much as I would consider myself a bit of an extrovert, well, maybe an ambivert. Sometimes I'm an extrovert. Sometimes I just really don't want to deal with people at all. I would definitely say that, yeah, I am the kind of person where I am not necessarily the kind of person who wants to be salesy and be like, oh, yeah, come and get my business. Although I really liked a strategy a guy called Matt Beswick did, where he decided that he's going to sell some consultancy time with his evenings and weekends. I thought he was crazy. I'm like, you want PPC folks ranting to you about their PPC issues during your weekend and evening times? So yeah, he literally just put up on his Calendly and saying, book me. And once you click to book, he actually puts his rate in there saying that needs to be paid before the chat actually happens. And I don't know, I think that's a really nice way of gaining clients quickly or gaining people to, book you very quickly. So I really like that. And at this stage, we'd love for you to give 2 minutes of your time to listen to Jack Chambers Ward from Search with Candor. Hello, Jack. How are you doing?
Hey, Anu. I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I am very well, thank you. Yeah, excited to speak to you today about your amazing podcast, Search with Candor. Can you tell us more about it and how much of Search do people need to know about to actually really follow what you guys are talking about?
Yeah, definitely, because Search with Candor is mostly SEO focused. There is a little bit of PPC crossover, but we are mostly an SEO podcast. And it's essentially me interviewing the SEO industry experts every single week, as well as monthly chats with my co-host, Mark Williams-Cook. We talk about the latest topics and news and all that kind of stuff once a month here in the Candor studio. And like I said, we do touch on PPC a little bit, but I think it is pretty accessible to anyone who wants to learn about SEO. And there's also plenty of stuff to learn about if you are an experienced SEO as well.
Fantastic. What's in store for us for 2025?
Pretty big plan. Still carrying on. We started publishing on YouTube in 2024, which was a big step going towards the video side of podcasts. We crossed 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel last year, which was very cool. Very cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And I've got some amazing guests coming up throughout the rest of 2025, including yourself, Anna. You're on an episode 3, beginning of January. So if you haven't heard that, folks, there is already an episode with Anna that you can go and check out, as well as upcoming episodes with people like Sarah Deakin, Manuel Mededu, Kerry Campion, Itamar Blauer, Danny Leitner, and like I said, monthly appearances from Mr. Mark Williams-Cook as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for giving us a snapshot into that. And yeah, we'll look forward to upcoming episodes you have for us this year.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you want to go and check us out, you can go to search.withcandor.co.uk and subscribe there. Subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you can basically listen to PPC Chat Roundup. You can also listen to Search with Candor.
So yeah, I hope you caught that I will be joining Jack and the team there too on that podcast, because I'm so excited to talk about why PPC and SEO need to work well together and what we can really learn from each other to ensure that we do well for our business, that we do well for our client. And because that's what's most important. It's not just about doing well for your channel. It's about doing very well for your business and driving revenue for your clients. So yeah, please check that out when it comes out. Back to our chat. We then go on to question 3, where Julie asks, so have any of the recent changes on social platforms, Meta dropping fact-checking or TikTok being banned and unbanned, for example, change your social media plans for 2025? Yeah, so the whole fact-checking stuff, that is something we should be really wary about. So we've got Nava going, I'm participating in the Meta boycott and deleted TikTok from my phone. I'm taking stock of my Meta addiction, and it's informing me the likelihood that I'll fully withdraw from those channels. Discord and Slack are great replacements for WhatsApp. Oh no, people are going to boycott WhatsApp as well. Reed Thomas goes, for me, it's less about any top-down changes and more about audience changes. X became a ghost town. Facebook never was the place for business. LinkedIn has always been a very weird kind of corporate glurge. For my clients, I'm suggesting less and less social-centric strategies, but it's important to be there, obviously. Austin Dillman, the only thing I post on Meta these days is my wildlife photography. I've never used TikTok, hate it personally, not really into IG. I only use X to follow sports conversations about my favorite teams, but these days I'm using Reddit for that. Just not a fan of social media for the most part. I'm getting old and would rather spend time outside. I understand that. Jeffrey Hain goes, I deleted TikTok, X, and Threads, now on Blue Sky, right? I think that's the way. Nava goes, Meta includes WhatsApp and Instagram. Obviously, she says. Julie goes, Twitter is where a lot of PPC chat people still are, but the reach there is in the toilet for me. LinkedIn used to be huge in reach for me, and now it's a tiny fraction of what it was last year. I cannot get any real business traction on Threads. Blue Sky, the jury is still out on. Love having this Slack and our Discord, absolutely. Lawrence goes, honestly, I have slowed my use of platforms a lot. I probably would not have some accounts if I did not need them for running brand ads. If family was not on Meta, I probably would never post there, but there are, so everyone in the family can keep in touch, as well as some of my friends who live in other states. For me, honestly, it is time versus opportunity thing. If I was getting a lot of business or value, I would be posting a lot. Yeah, so those who are on Meta, you do that for business or pleasure. If you guys didn't have family on there, would you be on there at all as well? So yeah, I feel a lot of people will be in Lawrence's boat as well. Nava goes, yeah, see, it's interesting. I found that the quality of LinkedIn started to deteriorate as X became a porn site. Oh, Lord, started to deteriorate. And Meta and TikTok has continued the erosion. Where's that going to leave us with social media? Riva Minkov goes, I'm taking part in the Meta boycott and have deleted Meta from my phone. I was never on TikTok in the first place, so certainly not going to start now. I agree with Nava that doing this has made me realize I am probably more addicted to social media than I'd like to be and will likely change my long-term habits. I think we're all missing the LLM boom as a cause of social media rot. And yeah, Lawrence goes, until Blue Sky becomes big, I won't create another account that takes my time. I may just be getting old, but just swapping one-time sync for another, if the value is not there, is really not worth the time and energy. I really truly agree with that as well, to be honest. And then Jeffrey goes, yeah, family on Facebook and WhatsApp, so stuck there as well. Riva goes, the things they are usually useful on Meta are still really useful, but there's so much other junk on there that keeps trying to serve me, and it's hard. Julie goes, I opted out of allowing Meta to use any offsite data about me, and the ads I get now are wild. Oof. Nava goes to read, what functionality is in an LLM are you thinking could help with connecting with humans? And Reed goes to finish the thought, I'm off two minds on the LLM boom being a cause. 99.9999% of industry stuff on social was always low effort spam. Two, that so much of content strategy could be replaced by things not written by humans and not to be read by humans puts a lot of strategy over the past 15 years into deep question. I include my own posts in that 99.9999. River goes, I would like to take a more principled stand on these platforms and feel like it matters, but also it's hard when I realize that we're dependent on them for so many things. So the key is first to break the dependency, I think. Reed goes, yeah, to response to Nava, I really don't use LLMs, so I'm not sure. Lawrence goes, yeah, I remember when Facebook first launched, businesses could get tons of eyes on their posts, and as the platforms moved towards pay-to-play model, those organic eyes decline quite a bit. So they're moving towards a pay-to-play model, and those organic eyes are declining quite a bit. Whether it is Blue Sky, LinkedIn, etc., they will all move that way because they want those ad dollars to increase revenue. Ali as well goes, yeah, future of personal branding, I believe, will be within these communities where you build your brand in a place like PPC Chat, PSA, or PPC Live. Oh God, that caught me off guard. Sorry, guys. Some things like that make me emotional. Anyway, Ali continues, other places where people won't know what's real or what's AI very soon, and that may create a distrust because everyone's gonna sound like an expert. Reed goes, that's what I mean. If AI can be an expert, what kind of content were we actually producing? I was talking with Fred about this. He believes we're in the last era of human influencers. I disagree, but I get why he thinks it. Ali goes to read, even with AI being the expert, the standout will be that AI won't know the personal of the personal brand. AI will give a standard response, but what happens, the story with a client, etc., will be the key to stand out. Nava Hopkins says, what's the value of interacting with Nava Hopkins, the human, when an AI can recreate my likeness, tone, and content? I'd like to think it's the soul inside, but even that has debatable value. Wow. We then have Julie going, but AI is wrong a lot. So part of what we will be battling is lots of authoritative sounding incorrect content, and prospects won't generally know the difference. It is concerning. River goes, yeah, I don't think AI is going to be able to take over anything until it's actually accurate. And even then, a lot of us connect for connection. We want responses and to make people think. So a bot doesn't cover that. The AI replies in LinkedIn are enough to give you screaming from your screen. Absolutely. And the AI replies in WhatsApp groups, those are getting very annoying in our PPC live chat WhatsApp group. We then go on to question 4, where Julie asks, how do you think you can differentiate yourself going forward? And then we have, Julia Weiss kicking us off saying, this is a real challenge for me. I work in a big core, which gives me access to lots of resources and support, but it also has a comms team and a PR team and lots of rules about how we show up when we rep our brand. I think I've done an okay job at this so far, but it is tricky. Nava goes, I am an odd one and I lean into my oddness. I truly believe this is the era to let your geek flag fly and own your non-work interests as you discuss clever work tactics and trends. Julie goes, I would like to think that continuing to offer valuable content and perspectives will be enough in a sea of AI sounding slop. I guess that remains to be seen though. I have seen some pieces lately about how we are headed to AI interacting with other AI as far as content goes, and it makes me want to cry. Julia Vise goes, the bots in bots convos, it's rough out here. Chris Murray goes, I'm definitely aware that I need to start doing more personal branding. I've been procrastinating under the guise of wanting to create a clear visual identity for posting. Also, genuine engagement as the spam or auto-commenting increases. I think niches are consolidating around people who are putting the effort in. Julie goes, in all seriousness, I think showing human thought is going to be a big one. How did your brain being involved with something like that make it better? Reed responds, increasingly for me, it's POV, obviously a double-edged sword. Julia Weiss goes, taking a stand is definitely one way, but it comes with sometimes unpleasant conversations to manage. Lawrence Chase goes, AI is going to create a new level of laziness, for lack of a better word, so you can differentiate yourself by using the tools AI provides, but give your own true thoughts on things. Run your own tests, analyze your data, and if you use AI to help analyze data as it gets better, then don't just take the info it gives you, but really look into it. Even in our industry, there is no right way of doing things, and each industry or brand can be very different. How many times have we run something super successful for one brand that tanked for another? If you are like me, I have seen that a lot. Just put in the work and use the tools, but also continue to use your own head and write your thoughts, not the machines. River Minkoff goes, just having an opinion and voicing it is often a differentiation. Nava goes, a lot of LinkedIn bros don't like having their opinions challenged or their authority questions. I had one of them block me for advocating for more diversity to give credit to this community. Wow. Jeffrey Hain goes, having an opinion and voicing it are great, Riva. Getting a decision maker to agree to test it is the challenge. Lawrence goes to Nava, don't worry, you are not alone. I am a little, okay, maybe a lot odd, but being odd could be a good thing. It's very a good thing. Jeffrey Hain goes, if odd means out of the box thinking and questioning why things are done the way they are, sign me up. I think there'll be a lot of oddballs if you're doing paid search well, because doing paid search well is all about thinking outside the box. It's all about looking at things and going against the norm, going against the grain and trying to be like, look, let's do well by our clients and not just increase budget for increasing sake. Nava goes as well, we don't need more news sharers. We need intelligent opinions on how to make the most of the news. Absolutely. Everything, every new button, every new different place Google has put something is not new major news. Anyway, go on my LinkedIn and you'll know what I'm talking about. And we then have Nava responding as well, saying, I sign off for most videos with may the path to profit and victory ever find you. It's something I started with my Mando guild in the Star Wars universe there. Things like that are brand specific. Read response, 99% of the news isn't actionable, though strategies haven't changed. UX from the Park era is still valid. We're just as an industry so far behind and obsessed with bringing breaking news that we can upsell off of. Miriam goes as well, this year is the first year I'm going to be creating content for my business across YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, mostly for sharing PPC tips from settings through to everything else. I don't want to sell myself through my social media. I just want to help other PPC people get better at doing PPC so we stop inflating CPCs on silly things due to the forgetting and setting or not understanding the negative keywords and how broad match or PMAX works. Deepula goes, I think everyone should just choose to be themselves and you'll attract the crowd best suited to you. Absolutely agree with D there. For our last question, we have Julie asking, what are your top priorities for building your brand and or finding business and leads in 2025? Austin goes, I started forming partnerships with agencies that can take on work that doesn't fit my team of consultants. I plan to sit in more senior strategic advisory roles with the client and agency while the agency does the day-to-day execution. Client gets someone to hold the agency accountable and provide another perspective. Agency gets a feedback partner to keep service quality high and someone with a biz dev point of view that also looks for additional opportunities to sell other services to the client based on business needs. Nava goes, reconciling the ethics implications of being on platforms I don't agree with and the business needs as an individual and employee of a major brand in the space. Julia Vice says, growth in my region. We have a position on local media, and while I love my global clients and big brands, I care about my city and my province. West Coast rise. Riva Makeup goes, I'm planning on building my LinkedIn and industry presence this year, writing and speaking more. I'm also strengthening partnerships and continuing to focus on delivering high-level customer service so we can continue to grow our business. Ali goes, yeah, community engagement remains a priority with or without the objective of gaining business. We'll do the below only after we have systems in place to manage the inbound and are clear about why we are doing it. And when he means the below, he means Substack, YouTube, and LinkedIn. I think those are great ideas. River as well then goes, I don't think that being on social or speaking necessarily immediately translates to X revenue. It also has to be something you want to do for you because you enjoy it and you think that you have to say that, and you think what you have to say matters and you care about making a difference. Posts or speaking engagements that are just sales pitches are really frustrating and people see through them most of the time. Okay, off my horse now. Lawrence as well says one of my biggest priorities for brands this year is to get them to diversify their ad spend on different platforms. And if you've been reading to any of my search engine land articles, I have been saying that as well. Diversifying your ad spend is so important these days. He continues, working to get those who are still bashful about creating videos, start doing more of those. We have so many platforms now to advertise our brands on, and many brands are still only using 2 or 3 of them at any given time. If I was going to start working on my own personal brand, it would be easy. I would start using YouTube along with LinkedIn to build my own brand. For me, it is easy as it comes down to time versus reward. I look for that for the brands I work with as well as for myself. Miriam as well continues, yeah, for me, I'm going to be speaking at more events this year or at least start planning ideas. I think it's time to get back out there. It's been way too long and I used to enjoy doing stuff like that. The business leads, etc., I think they just come naturally when you are more visible and your clients are happy. So hopefully that continues to maintain. Lawrence as well goes, yeah, Lawrence goes to Nava saying, your comment reminds me I have worked on several brands to get more ads in places like Twitch too. There are tons of folks who enjoy gaming after working all day and there is a great and varied audience on that platform. Julia Vice goes, I've been putting off podcasts and YouTube plans for personal reasons, wild 2 years, but it might be time to get out there. Julia, we want to hear more of you. Ash San responds to the question and even to Julia as well, saying same. 10 to 20 hours of video content this year would be a great goal to hit. That's a great goal to hit for PPC Live as well. I'll be tracking that. Thanks for that target, Ash. And on that note, we come to the end of this podcast. Julie goes, please keep the conversation going. It has been fabulous so far. I have to hop off for a few minutes early to ready for a recording session with Optimizer. So yes, hopefully we'll be listening out for that and checking Julie on that one. I think that might be the PPC town hall that they do. So yeah, I hope you've found that enjoyable. I hope you've taken some great takeaways from that. And this will be a great takeaway for your personal development. So all the freelancers that are listening to this, those are our amazing tips of trying to get your name out there, trying to get leads on social media, no matter how turbulent it seems at the moment. So yeah, I hope you stay strong. I hope you find your leads, whether it's on social media or in other parts. Yeah, I hope you've taken some great takeaways. If you found that very useful, or if there's any correction that you want to share about, yeah, find me on Twitter, find me on Threads, find me on Blue Sky, find me on LinkedIn as well. I'm on all the socials, not Facebook. So yeah, don't find me on that. We also have a PPC chat roundup group on LinkedIn if you'd like to join us there and share your thoughts. It would also be great for any long-standing or brand new listeners to give the podcast a review. It really helps with the growth strategy of the podcast. And you can do that on Spotify or on Apple by leaving a rating or review. It just takes seconds. Honestly, if you just go to linktree.com/PPC chat_roundup, you'd be able to find all the ways that you can leave a review or even sponsor us in any way fit. Yeah, next week we'll also be having a guest. This is my new project. I even mentioned it on my trailer with on Search and Candor, so look out for that. Because I've put it out there, I've got to do it. I've got to. When I say I'm going to do something, as I get it recorded and anyone listens to that, hears that, I feel like I have to follow through. So I am going to be interviewing the fantastic Matthew Beswick later on this week. That recording is going to come out for next week's episode. And we're going to be talking about some of these things that we've been talking about: how you get leads, doing stuff in-house, building a brand through paid search for a client when you're in-house, when you're not just dealing with paid search folks, how you actually interact with the different departments within a company and deal with the different channels. And being able to have that visibility on the different channels, how does that affect your job, and how does he feel like he's been an addition? He's been a great addition to the PPC Live community, and how he sees his knowledge being different to the other advertisers who are really just dealing with PPC day in, day out. So yeah, I'll be really looking forward to that. I really encourage you to, put down your calendar and listen to next week's episode where the recording and that chat with Matt would be up and running. So yeah, looking forward to it. And yeah, please will never fail to mention that PPC Live is coming back for another couple of weeks on February the 6th. Everything is booked. Our speakers are booked. The venue is booked. Food is booked pretty much because the venue is going to provide the food as well. Just waiting for you to join another fantastic PPC Live event. And we're going to be talking about GA4. That's one thing I want to make sure that it's priority to mention. We're going to be talking about customer journey and how to ensure that you're getting that data from where people are coming, whether it's from paid search or social or different channels. I'm also talking about ad copy testing in the world of AI. Loads of important topics to be thinking about in 2025 for your PPC strategy. So yeah, if you just go to ppc.live for tickets, they're £49 now. The cheapest you'll find for all the different conferences that are possible to go to this year. So yeah, we'd love to have you there. So yeah, just go to ppc.live. You'll see a banner right at the top. You can't miss it to get your tickets. And yeah, still looking for sponsors for this next event or for the other events, one of the other 5 events that we're going to do for later this year. Would love to hear from you. Do get in touch. You can send an email to hello@ppcliveuk.com for that. Finally, remember, for your campaigns and businesses to glide smoothly, there's a lot of hard work needed beneath the surface. So keep your swans kicking. Bye and speak to you next week.